All right, guys, welcome to Beard of Darkness Book Reviews. Oh my goodness, I've been so excited to talk to the man. He is a SPFBO 9 finalist, Mr. Clayton Snyder. How are you tonight?
I'm good.
I love to hear it, man. I absolutely Cold West was the first book of yours that I read, and man, I love the grit. I love the tone. I like that you're not afraid to kill people. You're definitely not afraid.
No,
So tell us a little bit. We'll kind of dip into some previous stuff a little bit, but first, let's talk about Cold West.
sure.
Um, Tell us about Cold West, the genre, the subgenre, the blurb, that kind of deal.
It is it's ostensibly a weird western. Although I like to classify it more as a western with dark fantasy overtones. It doesn't really have a lot of the standard weird western stuff. There aren't skeletons clattering around. There aren't ogres. There aren't orcs. It doesn't really have any of that stuff going on. So as far as that goes, it's kind of hard to classify as to what it is.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very, I would say, a gritty western with a subtle bit of fantasy in it. And me, like, prior to like kind of dipping into it, by the way, I see your good buddy. He never has anything but wonderful, like, such things as like he's genius type things to say about you, Mike Fletcher. Those are his words. Uh, Mike Fletcher's a good dude, and it sounds like you two. I know you've done some things together, so I like to see you guys supporting each other. That's super cool. But so when I dived into it, I really didn't know what to expect. It was my first Western kind of fantasy, if you will, and I was pleasantly surprised. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was so much better. Um, what would you say the blurb is, or like an overview?
Um, Boy, it's it's kind of hard to describe. It's almost Unforgiven meets What Dreams May Come via Nietzsche. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
No, I think that's good. It's got a wonderful main character. What was the main character's name? Is
Will Cutter.
Yes, and that's such a good Western name too. And he goes on this adventure. First, it was kind of just make a little bit of money. Some bad things have happened in his life. He's got some people to take care of, and yeah, I won't go too far into any details. I don't want to. I'm sure most people here have read it, but if you haven't, the adventure is it's what would be the word for it? A lot of unexpected things happen. There's lots of in this short book. You get a lot of unexpected things happening, and it's you can never really tell where you're at.
Mhm.
Where did you come up with your inspiration for Cold West?
Uh, Honestly, I had seen. Oh God, I had seen Unforgiven, and I wanted to pay homage to it, but I wanted to take it to a place where maybe it was afraid to go, and that's basically what I did with it.
Okay,
Um,
no, I think you did that well. What does it what does it mean to you personally to be a writer or an author? Like, what is the reason you get up and you write?
because I found if I don't write, I tend to go a little insane. So it's I don't have anything to do. I don't have anything to occupy myself, and it makes everybody around me miserable. So I have to
Well,
kind of, yeah.
you do you enjoy it? Like, is it something that I mean, you're obviously good at it. You This is not your first time in the as a finalist in the SPFBO, correct?
Yeah, the first time was with Mike. Neural Groans. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, and I love it. I love what I do. Um, I wish I had more time to do it, but I absolutely love what I do. So
That's wonderful, man. I think that's you're paying homage to, like you said at first, to other writers, such as myself, who want to be where you're at, man. I think it's really special. Um, let's see over here. Uh, Michael Schulstice. I hope I say your name right, brother. Schulstice. Schulstice, I think is a. This is an awesome description of your book, and it absolutely makes me want to pick it up. Dude, it's really good. I'm not just saying that because I mean, there's a reason I ask people to talk with me, and it's because I love the writing. Um, yeah, definitely check it out. Um, Charlie says, "I'd love to know what the inspiration was for Blackthorn."
the kernel for Blackthorn was the the Nick Cage and Sean Connery movie The Rock,
Oh,
and that was the kernel of inspiration for it. And I just went completely nuts with it. So
that's got to be fun, right? So, in my mind, as somebody who wants to do what you do as well as you do, you find these parts of inspiration, you kind of marry them, right? They come
mhm.
together, and then you can just kind of go do what the hell ever you want to do with it.
Yep. Yeah. It's always fun to be able to kind of take ideas from disparate genres or yeah, from just disparate genres, and then just kind of mash them together until there's something new. So
Yeah, kind of. You're an inventor,
yeah.
and that's very true. You invent things and you make them work. Not everybody could do a western with. I'm not ruining anything, but there's portals. I mean, not like if somebody was to say, "Hey, can you match these two?" Me, I'm like, probably not. I might know a guy, but that's not something I would attempt. Gosh, you do such a good job at it. Thank you for popping in, Chris Navo. Good evening, brother. Um, Santos Ganesh or Pippin the Took from Pippin Took the Shire Hobbit. That's how I know him. I see him in the Deadpool mask.
Hmm.
I read it recently, enjoyed it a lot. It is deliciously dark and well cut. It reminded me of an alternate universe Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2. Dude, you took the
Oh,
words out of my mouth. Yeah, dude. I think that's a wonderful take on it. Um,
I have never played that game.
oh my God. You should, man. Like, you should because you really took, because me, that I kind of grew up in that era. I was born in '90, so I played the first one and beat it, the second one, and then I beat that one quite a few times. Just couldn't get enough of it. And me, that's where my head went before even picking this book up. Obviously, that wasn't your intent, but
Mhm.
every reader comes with their experiences, and
Okay.
and and I think that helps tell your story even better. You had this image for the story you wanted to come across. And I took my experience as well as the readers who obviously loved it, put it as a finalist, and use their experience to help them with that story. And I think that's something that authors and readers often don't get a chance to talk to the authors with, like I am with you. And I just love it, man. I'm so happy you're here. Um,
So,
and let me check down here because one thing that I am not great at yet is talking and checking my comments. Uh, I will get better. So to my knowledge, I've only read one Western, so I think I'm overdue. Yeah, you. So let me just say this: my dad is kind of a gritty guy. Uh, uh, I'm a man kind of guy, Uh, has worked on airplanes all his life, and he is not a reader. Like he is the definition of a non-reader, and he currently has the book you sent me.
oh,
Yeah, and I haven't touched up with him. He got it at Thanksgiving. It's probably going to take him a couple months because he doesn't read. But
mhm.
I told him, I said, you have to read this. I said, I want you to enjoy books, and if you don't, whatever. But I'm going to still try, and I'll actually let you know what he thinks about that, and I think he's enjoying it.
All right.
Um, Oh man, that's one of my favorite movie. Blackthorn is definitely going to be my next Clayton Snyder book. I haven't chosen my next Clayton Snyder book yet. Um, I think it's probably going to have to be something that you and Mike done. I'm reading in the Shadow of Their Dying right now, the E arc,
I'm
and
waiting. I'm waiting patiently for it. So,
dude, it's wicked as
yeah,
you can expect him. Two brilliantly dark minds together.
yeah.
Um, yes, my dude, EC Greaves. I like that you're not afraid to kill people. Yep, it's a kind of compliment that requires a rather specific context. Well, I can't give you that context because that would ruin the book, my friend. Another guy who I'm having on Saturday, I can't wait. My guy, Nick Horvath.
Hey, Nick.
Uh, he is saying, "What up, Beard and Clayton? I know he's read your book as well, and I know he loved it. Uh, yeah, and everyone else, of course. Thank you for popping in, Nick. So, who are some authors that you would say have their hand in the way that you write?
In the past, as far as like early influences, definitely like Roger Zelazny. Uh,
Oh, that's a new one for me.
yeah, uh, very much influenced like the noir feel, the first person, that sort of thing. Chandler, of course. Um, let's see who else for early influence would have been. Oh, it's pretty fuzzy for early stuff. More modern was would definitely be Fletcher, Anna Smith Spark. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, authors like that.
You like the grittier side of your reading. You like the
Yeah,
grittier
yeah,
side.
and Anna just has a way. She has a way with a turn of phrase that is infectious, and it really gets into you when you're reading it, and you want to go out and you want to write like it.
Uh,
Um, so it's poetic and it's
Manic.
yeah, it's manic. Yeah, it's incredible. Um, it might take a minute to get into, but when you get into it, it's impossible to put down.
Oh
So
my gosh, that's a perfect way to say it, brother.
yeah,
Um, Here is Michael saying, Zelazny, I have the complete Amber Chronicles on my shelf. Highly recommended.
yeah.
And Book Mama 87 says, howdy, y'all. Cold West is my current read. I'm on chapter 6. Loving the storyline so far. That may or may not be my other half.
Okay.
uh, so I'm gonna have to check Zelazny out, guys. That's a new name for me. The Amber Chronicles. What is that? What you would recommend somebody
The First
read?
Chronicles of Amber are some of my favorite books of all time. Easily. Those Lord of Light. He's just an incredible author. Very very creative and very skilled at taking a small amount of space and putting a lot of information into it, um, without ruining the story. So
Without making you put it down and they're like, wow, this is too much.
yeah, it's I don't know. There's just something about the way the guy writes that just pulls you along, and yeah,
I love that, man. I'm excited to try. I love a new recommendation. I love it. So back to Anna Sparks or Anna Smith Spark. I always mix those two up. I hope I'm not the only one. Um, Her writing is like you have to get in, like you have to try to read it as if you're in her mind and like you're her mouth or something. Like she reads thoughts or she writes thoughts, and like you said, sometimes it may be hard to digest at first, but
Mhm.
once you do and you kind of get her point of view, oh man, it's like it comes so naturally.
Yeah,
And I also love like the very human part of her that stops and goes like fuck 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 fuck.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like or fucking shit. Like that's a very human mental breakdown sometimes, and we may not shout it out loud, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. Especially in in Empires of Dust, they're these 2 points of view that are so different. There's Marith, who is almost alien, um, and then there's a I think his name is Silas, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
And he's this this just down to earth mercenary, and his the voices are so different because his is this sort of cynical and wry and almost funny sort of voice, as opposed to Maris, who's is yeah, Maris is kind of disconnected and ethereal, and it's amazing the way she shifts between those tones.
So these three books in the Empire of Dust are absolutely like those ones like that I'll tell everybody that walks in my house. Like she actually sent them to me, and I will forever treasure those.
Incredible.
And I had her on the channel, and man, she's got such a wonderful story herself. Um, I don't remember the exact date, but I'll have her and Fletch on in January talking about in the shadow of their dying. And I'm very pumped. I hope you tune in, man, and shoot some questions at her. And I'm sure you've talked to her before, but I think she's really good at answering those personal questions. And she's very open too. So it's not just her books in which she reads like that. She's like that in real life. Um, Nick said, I just finished Cold West. Damn, I loved it. The sudden shifts into flashbacks / side story and interruptions of violence made me distrust the ground beneath me. A true nightmare. Yeah, dude. What a wonderful compliment that is.
Yeah.
I found myself just kind of like I wasn't really sure what was coming next. And I love that in books. I can't wait for these, and it happens quite a bit. It's not that big of a book, so you get all this in a really good pace, not too fast, not too slow, and it's really good for like the imagination. I didn't start reading when I was really young. I found reading and the adventure of wanting to write at 29. I'm 33.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of dipping into this, and man, I just really loved it. So what? So when you're really in the grind, and we'll get to that kind of what you're doing right now, but when you're in the grind, what is your writing process day to day?
Basically, I just throw on really loud music, and then I throw words at the page.
Oh wow!
I don't outline because outlines just fall down. They catch fire, they fall down and collapse into ashes. I cannot follow an outline to save my life.
Answer all the way.
So yeah, the only time it's ever worked is when I've worked with Mike, and that was outlining 3 chapters at a time, and going back and checking our work, and then outlining the next 3 chapters and checking our work. When I have somebody there to kind of force me into structure, that makes a difference. But when I'm on my own, I cannot maintain that structure. I have to just throw words at the page until they work.
Now, does that make recalling? So let's say you just got done with Cold West, which I'm assuming you pantsed through.
Yep.
Okay, so you get done with that book, and I'm asking you about it. Does it make it harder to recall writing in that process, or how is that for you personally?
It depends. If I've gone back and I've edited that book umpteen million times, it's not all that hard to recall it. Other times I will edit it maybe only 3 or 4 times, and it's right out of my head as soon as it's printed. It just depends on the book.
Cool.
There are certain books I can remember entire passages from, and then somebody will ask me a question about, hey, do you remember this character doing this? And I'll go, no.
That's awesome. Well, and what that is just being genuine and talking about your experience as an author, book to book. And I like that, the honesty. And I also like that you touched on left up to your own accord. You're a pantser. And I'll tell you, I've tried that. That's what I tried first, because of course I want to be a pantser. It didn't work for me. My story starts going here, and then I forget what the hell I wrote last night, and it just doesn't work for me. And then see, when you get to page 400, right, you can't just reread what you've written.
Yeah.
You have to know what the hell you've written, and that's
Yeah.
a part where people like me, I couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been fairly fortunate as far as that goes. My wife has always accused me of remembering everything I've ever seen or heard. So, as far as writing it myself, I'm pretty good about. Oh yeah, this happened.
Mhm.
So if I do have to go back and edit, most of the time it's like, well, you said here it was 12:30 in the afternoon. Here you said it was 11 in the morning. So those, so stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
I love that, man. Uh, if you could, so it's some foundational books again. If you could read one or two, however many you want to give, novels again for the first time, what would they be or it be?
Oh, I don't know if they were foundational, but books I really would love to read again.
Hmm.
Murakami's Kafka on the Shore, because that book I didn't like it, but that book had a profound effect on me. Like it stuck with me, and it really affected the way I approach story and prose and all that. Um, and I really dislike that book, but
Would you repeat the book name and the author?
Haruki Murakami, and the book is Kafka on the Shore.
Kafka on the Shore.
Yep.
Okay.
Um, Snow Crash was a fun book.
Snow Crash.
I'd probably like to read that one again.
Love it. So, what are you reading currently?
Uh, Ironically, I am currently reading Neuromancer because I have never read it before, surprisingly.
Okay.
So,
Neuromancer. Love that. So, right now, I am finishing up for our interview tomorrow. Mike Shackles' We Are the Dead. Have you read that?
I have read the first book in the series.
Yeah, We Are the Dead. Yep. Dude, holy shit. Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude. Just love the shit out of it. Can't wait to talk with him. That's gonna be fun. But I can't wait to get to the next books too. Um, so as far as the SPFBO goes, how has that journey been for you as a whole? Tell us about your last one and this time. Has it been different, the same?
Oh, I think it's always pretty much just like pure stress all the way through. So it's just like mainlining coffee from morning to bed. Um, it's always a pretty decent process. There is a decent amount of stress involved, and but on the upside, you get to meet all these pretty amazing people. You know, you get to make a bunch of friends. You get to read these amazing books. Um, Really, the whole thing is just kind of this awesome community that gets kind of mashed together every year, and there's always new people and there's always new books, and it's a little bit overwhelming because when you start looking at your TBR, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's and everybody involved is so nice. It's unbelievable. You would think there would be like one person that would be like a horrible human being, but they're all nice.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. You're not being in it, of course, but a lot of the people when I started my channel, it was like I fell into the indie niche, and that competition is really where I got a lot of names where I kind of fell into and have a lot of friendships just based off the people who have been in that competition, whether they're out of it or still in. Um, One of which, EC Greaves, he's here now, and he's been on the channel a few times, twice. It'll be a few times here shortly. Me and him really enjoy talking to one another, but who else? Oh my gosh, just so many people. Of course, I can't think of uh, any at the moment. Of course, well, Mike Molman, he was in the competition for a while. Michael Michelle. Um, oh my goodness, so many others. I can't none poke out me at the me at me at the moment. But that's when, or that's where I got a lot of the interests that I have now, and I have it all to thank really for kind of shaping my my view of fantasy so far. One, I'm really enjoying Jacqueline Hagen's. She's also a finalist.
Yep.
Um, the Wickwire Watch. Holy crap! Have you read that?
I have not yet, but I've heard very good things.
Holy man! Oh, like if you like a Victorian London feel with like a Gothic feel, but really witty characters, deep. Oh man, it's wonderful. Um, Nick says, "Have you read Altered Carbon, Clayton? My favorite cyberpunk novel, cyberpunk noir mystery."
I have read Altered Carbon. I've also read his fantasy series, The Steel Remains, and all that. So,
Remind us who wrote that.
Richard Morgan.
Richard Morgan. One that I'm reading now that has been compared to that is Neon Leviathan by T.A.
Pierre Napper. Yep.
Yeah, T.A. Napper.
Yep.
Yes.
He's an amazing author as well.
Dude, I am enjoying it and enjoying it. I can't wait to read some other some stories that he's written because he really does pull you in.
Yeah, I think his full novel is 36 Streets.
Yes, 36 Streets. Yes, thank you for reminding me. 36 Streets. Charlie says Altered Carbon is fantastic. I've also recommended 36 Streets is a great site. There we go. So what is next for you right now?
Ironically, I am working on a cyberpunk novel.
Oh, wonderful, man. I love how things like that happen. Tell us a little bit. You don't have to, tell us as much as you want to tell us.
It's actually, the idea is that the way social media has kind of been shaping up and the way data collection has been shaping up, I thought about what if in the future, what if there are these basically quantum machines? I don't know how they'd work out. I haven't really done all that much digging yet, but they would be basically advanced fortune tellers. They would take every data point from your life, from your parents' life, from your relatives' lives, and they would predict the arc of your life. They would predict the arc of historical events based on all these data points these social media companies have collected. And then they would be able to manipulate history, or they would be able to manipulate the fortunes of people connected to them. And all of these things are owned by the rich.
Of course.
While the people down on the street level have basically what are known as street weavers. They're a person that basically volunteers to get hooked up to these stacks of supercomputers. And their predictions aren't as powerful or as quite as accurate, but they're like going to a Madame Blavatsky or whatever on the street corner. And they get their fortunes read and they kind of live their day to day by that. Well, there's a kind of a conspiracy to bring down the big corpse. So that's where I'm still kind of working it out. So
first of all, that sounds incredible, dude. I cannot wait to dip into that when it's finished. Do you have a title in mind yet?
Neon Gods.
Neon God. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, Neon Gods. That's sick. So a question from kind of like me personally. When you're beginning a novel, okay, and you've got a pretty good grasp on where you want to go with the story, what is your process in starting? Like, how do you start a novel?
I look for I typically only write one point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So and for me it's typically also first person. So what I'm really looking for is What is my character doing? Where are they? And what's the opening line? What can I tell? What can I tell the reader within the first paragraph? And how can I hook them?
I love that. What can I tell the reader within the first paragraph? So, and this is coming from,
Or what can I show them, I guess, technically. But yeah, what can I show them about my character, about the world, and about the story, and hook them all within the first paragraph? And it doesn't have to be a huge info dump or anything. It just has to be, um, it just has to be info, or it just has to be story. So
that makes perfect sense. I struggle with, am I looking at something? Am I hearing something? Am I doing something that is going to lead into a major point? So I guess I'm very much at the beginning of this road as a writer. So mine's going to be first person, and I think maybe I'll have at the most 3 points of view. I love reading multiple points of view, but me as a writer, I don't know if I can handle, 5 or 6. Some people can pull it off, like We Are the Dead.
yeah.
All of a sudden you're a little confused at first, right? You kind of got to trust the author, and it intersects, and it's like, holy crap.
Well, and you've got to be able to handle the tonal shift in voices and all that too, and that's even trickier. Well, I guess back to the first paragraph for me though.
Mm-hmm.
For Neon Gods, my first paragraph is my main character bleeding out in the gutter,
That's very catchy,
and that tells you what the city's like. It tells you something has happened to the main character, and it's a hook. So from there we move on.
So first of all, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. You kind of gave something from something you're working on now that's very personal, and it's not out yet. So I just want to let you know I appreciated that. And that makes a lot of sense in my mind. A gutter, you're in the city, you're bleeding out, something's just happened. And it's a main character, he's got to live on. So those, I kind of grasped that right off. So I think you're a pretty good source for that information. So I appreciate you. So I'm guessing that what you're working on and what is next for you is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I took about a year off. I wasn't able to really write anything for about a year aside from working with Mike on the last Manifest Illusions book. So we knocked that out, and personal projects just didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is finally me moving on, getting stuff going again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to get. I think I'm finally about 11,000 words into this book. So
11,000, you said?
yeah, it's finally moving on.
Nice, man. I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. EC Grief, this SPFBO has been so amazing for meeting new friends. There's another one there that's been in the SPFBO, Mike Moman. Hey, everybody. And EC says, don't tell them about our secret Discord server. That's hilarious. I just have to say, only that would come from EC. So tell us where you are active as far as your social media and where people can buy your books.
I am really only active on Twitter for the most part.
Okay.
You can find me just at Clayton Snyder 2.
Yeah, then, I've got you in the description, and I've got your website.
Okay. And then my books are pretty much just on Amazon for the most part. So
awesome. Well, I will get the link to Cold West and your just author profile actually on Amazon.
Yeah.
In the description. And lastly, I always like to kind of ask this question just to get a different answer every time, or the same answer. They're all the best. But name a couple people you'd like to see me chat with in the future.
You've probably talked with everybody, but have you talked to Crystal Matar?
No, but she's coming up in January, dude. I'm so pumped.
Um, uh, Connor Kaplan.
Nope, I have. Oh, yes, I have. Yes, CM Kaplan. Yeah. Yep, I've talked to Kaplan. Yep. So,
Uh, Ed.
I have. Yep.
See,
So,
yeah, you're covered. I think
so
you got everybody.
okay, no, that's wonderful. I love that. But these people will be back on again. So I like those answers. The people that I've had on are also going to come back on. I can't. It's this community, like you said, man.
Hmm.
It's so fun. It's so inviting. But lastly, man, I would just kind of like to thank you for hanging out with me for a little bit. It's been very telling. I've gotten some good information from you, and I just really appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool, man.
Well, I'm glad. I'm happy you had me on. So
Wonderful. And thank you for guys for showing up live, and anybody who will watch in the future. And I'll keep in touch with you as much as I can about what my father thinks, and I'm sure he'll love it if he reads it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I'll let you know if he's converted or not. But hey, guys, thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you're at, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you, guys.